The night is quiet once more, and the sound of waves drifts through the dark. Steady, endless, alive. The air tastes of salt, and somewhere beyond the shore, the sea moves like a great heartbeat, patient and eternal. Tonight, we journey north, to the frozen edges of the world, where the sea and the sky meet in silence. There, beneath the cold stars, a woman once lived, a daughter, a victim, and in time, a goddess. This is the story of Sedna, the mother of the sea, a story of betrayal, sorrow, and the strange grace that rises from despair. Settle in, let the waves carry you, and listen to how the ocean learned to breathe. Long ago, before the world was tamed by names and borders, there was a girl who lived in a small coastal village. Her name was Sedna, and she was known for her beauty, not just of face, but of spirit. Her laughter was said to calm storms, and her eyes held the quiet blue of the deep sea. She was the daughter of a hunter, a man who loved her deeply but feared her wild heart. For Sedna was unlike the others. She did not seek marriage, nor the warmth of a hearth. She preferred the wind, the sea, and the cry of gulls. When suitors came, she turned them away with a polite smile and silence. The people whispered that she was proud or strange, but Sedna did not mind. She loved the sea too much to belong to anyone else. One day, as the sun set over the icy water, a new suitor arrived, tall, cloaked in furs, his eyes dark as obsidian. He spoke softly, his voice carrying like a tide. He promised Sedna a life of comfort and peace across the waves, a home filled with warmth and song. Her father urged her to accept. The man seemed strong, kind, and capable, and so, though her heart was uneasy, Sedna agreed. She boarded his boat, watching her village fade behind her as the oars cut through the darkening sea. But when they reached the far shore, she saw that it was no human home that awaited her. The man's cloak of fur fell away, and beneath it stood a creature not of flesh, but of feather. A bird spirit, black and gleaming, with eyes like polished stone. He had deceived her. He was no man, but a raven king, ruler of a desolate island. The days that followed were filled with loneliness. Sedna's laughter faded, her songs silenced by the ceaseless wind. The Raven King brought her fish and trinkets, but they brought her no comfort. At night, she would stand at the edge of the cliffs, staring toward the sea, toward home. Far away, her father began to dream of her, dreams of cold winds and crying birds. At last, guilt overcame him. He took his boat and set sail across the waters, searching until he found her. When she saw him on the shore, Sedna ran to him, tears bright against her cheeks. "Father, take me home," she begged. Without hesitation, he pulled her into the boat, and they fled across the sea. But the Raven King awoke and saw their escape. His fury rose like a storm. He flapped his great black wings, and the wind obeyed him. Clouds gathered, waves rose, the sea churned with rage. Sedna and her father fought the storm, but the wind tore at their sails. The water swallowed their cries. The raven swooped above them, his voice a scream that split the air. The boat tipped, shuddered, nearly capsized. In his terror, Sedna's father did something unthinkable. To save himself, he threw his daughter overboard. Sedna cried out as she plunged into the freezing sea, the shock stealing her breath. She reached for the boat, clutching its side, her fingers white with cold. But her father, gripped by fear, took his knife and struck at her hands. He cut off her fingers one by one, And as they fell into the water, something miraculous happened. Each piece of her, each severed finger, changed form. They became seals, whales, and walruses, diving deep into the sea, filling the oceans with life. Sedna sank below the surface, her body heavy, her breath fading. But the sea, moved by her sorrow, caught her gently. Down in the depths, she did not die. The water wrapped around her like a cloak, and the creatures born from her body gathered near. The darkness welcomed her, not as an ending, but as a beginning. In the stillness, Sedna opened her eyes. They glowed faintly, reflecting the light from above, the dim shimmer of the surface she had left behind. She realized then that she had become part of something vast, the pulse of tides, the rhythm of waves. Her grief had seeded life. Her suffering had given birth to a kingdom. Time moved differently beneath the waves. Sedna no longer needed to breathe. Her hair floated like seaweed around her, her skin pale as coral. The animals of the ocean swam close to her, whispering through the currents. They became her children, her companions, her realm. She built a home in the deep, not of stone, but of shells and currents, a palace that shimmered with light filtered through miles of water. And from there, she watched over all creatures of the sea. But her heart remained heavy. When the world above grew cruel, when hunters took more than they needed, Sedna would stir. The seas would grow restless, storms would rise, and only when offerings were made, when people remembered her with respect, would she calm the waves again. The people came to understand her pain. They said that when the storms grew fierce, Sedna's hair was tangled, and the spirits of the sea were restless. Shamans would descend into trances, journeying to her realm to comb her hair and soothe her sorrow. And when they did, the seas would grow calm again, her forgiveness washing gently back to shore. Even now, they say that when the wind changes, you can hear her voice, low and mournful, echoing through the surf. A song of loss, but also of life. A reminder that pain can give birth to beauty, and that even in betrayal, there can be rebirth. Sedna's story is not one of vengeance, but transformation. She became what she was always meant to be, not a daughter bound by others, but a mother to all who live in the sea. And so, when you stand at the shore and watch the waves roll in, remember her. The chill that touches your skin, the sound that fills the air. They are her gifts, her voice, her endless movement. She is the sea itself now, vast, powerful, and eternal. Once betrayed, now divine. Once human, now the heart of the ocean. The tide pulls, the wind softens, the world exhales. Sedna, the sea mother, watches in silence as the waves return to her embrace.